Hello and welcome to the first video of the Raw Vegan Cleanse. This video is all about the mindset of success, the mindset that you need to succeed with the raw vegan diet, at least the raw vegan cleanse for these 7 days. So usually people give a lot of lip service to mindset. It's a hard thing to really grasp because it's not tangible. You can't pick it up like this phone and be like, okay, here is this thing Ted talked about. Mindset is this thing between your ears. Really, the way I see it is, mindset is your perspective. Mindset is your attitude. And it's your attitude that's going to determine your altitude. It's going to determine how high you can really get. Now, the people who have the mindset of a victim, the people who have the mindset of blaming others, they're people who do not succeed in anything with their life. They're constantly blaming other people for their shortcomings. The mindset that long-term raw vegans have, the mindset that people who have succeed with things in life have, they're the people who don't blame others. They're the people who take 100% responsibility for everything that they do and everything that they achieve. So if you would like to succeed with a raw vegan diet, then you're going to need to have that same mindset of taking 100% responsibility. That's the first thing that I gotta say about mindset. It's like it all comes down to responsibility. The people who are succeeding do not blame others, do not blame their situation or their environment. The other thing that successful raw vegans do mentally is they tie a positive emotion to raw foods. Whereas a lot of people who are not succeeding with raw, if I ask them like, hey, like what do you associate raw foods with? They'll say things like being cold, being hungry, being deficient, not having a large variety of food. But the people who are succeeding, they've tied positive emotions to raw foods. So I say, what do you associate raw foods with? And they say freedom from addictions. They say being an ideal body weight. They say mental clarity. They say way more energy. They say clear skin. So it's just an emotional. It's a connection that we have mentally to the food that's going to determine how far we really succeed with it. Because if you associate raw foods with being cold and being miserable and being limited in your variety and being deficient, you're not going to want to do it. You're going to find excuses. You're going to find other reasons not to do it. But if you associate being raw with feeling amazing, having a lot of energy, clearing your skin, being an ideal body weight, you're going to want to succeed with it long term. Okay, so that's another thing to keep in mind. It's important as you go through these 7 days to start forming new emotional connections, new mental connections with raw foods. Because raw foods, raw foods are just the same food you'd find out in nature. Like, it's just raw food. It's just nature's food. The idea we put on it, this perspective, this filter that we see raw foods with, it all comes down to our mindset. The other thing you got to keep in mind when it comes to doing a raw vegan cleanse like this, like if you're trying to lose some weight over the next 7 days, or if you're trying to stick with raw for whatever reason, is you got to take it one meal at a time. I was speaking with my friend Melissa Raimondi the other day, and she lost a tremendous amount of weight on raw foods. I forget exactly how much weight she lost, but she was like, I'd say obese. She was really big, and now she's just like supermodel thin. Like she could be on like cover of a magazine, like a fitness magazine, and she doesn't have any cellulite either. It got eaten up or something by the raw foods. I don't know how that worked, but she looks amazing now. And I asked her, I was like, how did you do it? And she said, you know what? I just took it one day at a time. Not even one day at a time, one meal at a time. I was just like, just for this meal, I'm going to be raw. That was it. That was the only decision she had to make about staying raw. I was like, just this one meal. Because she said anytime she thought about being raw forever, it was overwhelming and it was scary and it was like too hard to deal with. But if it's just this one meal, okay, I can do that one meal. You know, it's just a meal, no problem. That's not an issue. But if it's like, okay, you need to be raw forever, then it can cause a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of worry. You might be wondering, how am I going to afford this, or how am I going to make this work, or what about my travels, and blah, blah. But if you just take it meal by meal by meal, then what happens is even if you screw up, or not screw up, but even if you slip up and eat something else because you forgot to make that decision, or you just for whatever reason couldn't get raw food, then the next meal comes, you can make that decision again. And you can say, hey, it's just raw this meal. It's just raw this meal. And you can get back on track so much easier. But if you think, okay, I need to be raw forever, and then you mess up, and then you're like, oh, there goes the whole forever thing. But if you have the idea of it's just one meal, just one meal, just one meal, then even if you screw up, you can get right back on track because you're like, okay, it's just this one meal. The other thing too is if you really want to eat cooked food, then just be open and admit it. Just be like, I want to eat cooked food. And go into the meal curious. Go into the meal thinking like, okay, how is this going to make me feel? and you eat the food, and you learn from that experience how it makes you feel. Every time you eat a cooked meal, learn from it. Anytime you eat a raw meal, learn from it. You got to be your own scientist here. You got to be experimenting, you got to be researching about how the food makes you feel. So if you want the cooked food, just admit it and then eat it. If you don't want cooked food, but you find yourself eating it over and over and over again, but you're like, I really don't want this, but I'm eating it. I really don't want this, but I'm eating it. Then you've got to seek help. You got to ask for help. You got to go to these Facebook groups, or you got to go to actual counseling. You got to go to therapy, or you got to get a coach. You need to get some people on your team. You need help. A lot of people don't associate food addictions with drug addictions, even though they're basically the same thing. I definitely had a food addiction. I definitely had a problem. I would eat big meals of foods I didn't want to be eating. I would eat so much I'd feel like crap that I'd throw the rest in the garbage, and I'd go back to the garbage and pick things out of the garbage just to eat some more. Or I'd eat so much of a certain food and I'd go in bed sick. I'd lay there sick, super nauseous, and I'd wake up a couple hours later after awaking from my food coma, and I would wake up nauseous still, and I'd see the food and I'd reach for it and grab and eat some more. So I definitely had a problem. I don't have that problem anymore, thank God, but it's something that you need to admit when you have that problem. That's going to help you get help. It helps to tell stories about your food addictions just to get it off your chest and let people know what you're going through. So don't keep it all bottled up inside, because what you suppress, suppression turns to depression, and depression turns to disease. It's the people who have disease that have been suppressing things for so long. So you want to get it out, you want to express it, you want to talk about these things. But this raw food thing doesn't need to be a serious topic. I mean, raw foods is amazing, it's really exciting, it's really fun, it's delicious. But talking about addictions, it can be a bit dark, So it helps to talk about it, helps to get it out there and hang out with other people who have these food addictions or who had those food addictions. And talk with people about, keeping the next meal raw, keeping the next meal focused on the fruit. It's all about focusing on the fruit over these next 7 days. So do your best and make it fun, make it delicious, make it enjoyable. Go out and use that shopping list to your full advantage, and go make some recipes, man. And I'll see you in the next video. That's it for now. Peace, much love. Welcome to the Raw Vegan Cleanse.